Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Vivek Ramaswamy and Hasan Minhaj. I think this is a fascinating circumstance because the parameters on this situation are extremely clear. So the New York Times comes in and says Hasan Minhaj is a comedian who has lied in his comedy, right? And that doesn't mean anything, right? The New Yorker's saying somebody lied, who cares, whatever. But then Hasan Minhaj comes and link below in his video, he's like, yeah, I did lie, right? So now we're working with, now we're cooking with gas, all right? Let's go, right? So now it's clear, right? You got somebody who's set themselves up to be canceled, and there's no template for this, right? So Vivek Ramaswamy can come in and say, hey, I'm running for U.S. president. There's a good chance that in that as of November 2nd, 2024, I'll be your new president. So I'm going to use my eminent position to determine a cultural punishment for cancellation. And this is a big deal because we don't have this, right? But what's really interesting is what's fascinating about this subject, and why I think Vivek Ramaswamy should really get involved in this, right, is this is about the social contract we have as humans about human speech, right? We have had this social contract for a long time where I'm a human, you're a human. I talk to you, you listen, right? And you expect honesty, right? Now, we have this special box, right? Where I would say, I'm going to tell you a tale, right? I'm going to read this fiction book to you, right? But when we talk to each other, we expect honesty unless there's a tag that says, hey, this is false, this is make-believe, this is pretend, this is, and then this is fiction, right? We have a bucket for lying, like with a permission to lie is fiction. That's the only time you can lie, right? And so Donald Trump like took a chainsaw to that human social contract specifically for Americans, right? And this Hasan Minhaj situation allows it to be fixed. But we need to examine what's happening with this situation, right? So here's what's fascinating is if you listen to Hasan Minhaj's confession, link below, he says, I got confused because I'm a political comedian and I'm a storytelling comedian, right? And he's like, and the problem was I took liberties, I told emotional truths in the political comedian part, right? Now, and I'm only supposed to do that in the storytelling comedian slot. And what I think is interesting is he is 100% wrong. And again, this goes to the social contract, right? First of all, comedians are absolutely at no point allowed to lie anywhere in their stand-up comedy. And because of the social contract, right? So we have been building the social contract for a while. One of the things that Donald Trump did, right, was there had already been an asterisk on the social contract where politicians were not allowed to lie. They were expected to lie, right, by U.S. American citizens, right? Americans were like, oh, you specifically are a politician, so there's no expectation of truth coming out of your mouth, right? And that was very interesting because and basically we had this social contract where we were like, we didn't want to excuse you guys, but you guys have lied for so long that we don't really expect truth from you. But that is not the case with comedians, right? We absolutely expected truth in comedy, right? And the reason why is you're entertaining us by painting for us this picture of outlandish adventure, right? And so there's three topics that every comedian, hack comedian talks about, right? They talk about, oh, I used this recreational substance and it was so zany and wild, right? And they tell that story. And then they're like, oh, I was with my girlfriend or I was with my boyfriend and this zany thing happened. Whoa, it was great. It was, outlandish, right? Or they're like, I was at the airport and this, and let me complain to you about the airport, right? And the thing is, we had a social contract with them, right? Like, You can't just make crap up. And the reason why is any of us can do that. We can all go up on stage and tell the craziest, zaniest, wild story. But we are listening to you, and we're willing to laugh at you because you have sacrificed portions of your life to wild abandon, right? And we expect that what you're bringing us is truth, right? And this is where we land, right? Journalists are in that same space now, right? As politicians, where people are like, oh, well, politicians, we've completely abandoned any expectation that they'll ever tell the truth, right? But journalists, we had this tradition, but you guys have been so agendaed and so biased for 30 years that there's no expectation of truth. But then Jon Stewart came, and Jon Stewart was like, hey, I'm going to pick up the ball. I will become the journalist comedian. And this will matter because comedians are expected to tell truth, right? Nobody was like, hey, if I go up on stage and I was like, you know what, I use these recreational substances and I did 7 XYZs, and then I, saw colors and I could feel colors, and everybody's like, you can't just make that up, right? Like, there's an expectation that you have this life of wild abandon, and anybody could just go up there and just say outlandish crap, right? Like, that's not what we're here for. We're expecting there's a measure of truth. So when Jon Stewart stepped on the scene, people were like, wait a second, this is a comedian. And we have this social contract that we expect truth in every part. The storyteller part, the storyteller comedian, the political comedian, and here's the biggest thing. I get where Hasan was going, and I understand why he said political comedian. He really was a cultural comedian. He was saying, I am from this culture of a people of color, and I'm representing them, and I'm telling you their story. The problem is he lied, right? And if we've made enough progress in America to where he literally said it in the interview. He's like, my life is so safe and boring that no one would be excited to hear it. And I'm like, here's the problem, man. You are representing a falsity. You are lying. We have arrived in a world where, a person of color can go to Hollywood and get every single privilege that a person who is not a non-person of color would get. That is a huge advancement, a massive advancement, right? And so you lying about that is unforgivable for 1 year. Right? That's why I think the punishment for Hasan Minhaj should be 1 year, and Vivek can set that into place. And so Hasan Minhaj was getting into this space where he was saying, I expected that I could lie to you in the storyteller comedian part. And the reality is, you can't lie to us in anything, right? You can't lie to us as a storyteller comedian. You can't lie to us as a political comedian. You cannot lie to us as a cultural comedian, and you sure as heck cannot lie to us as a journalist comedian, which Hasan Minhaj has no excuse. And this is why Hasan Minhaj is the perfect person for Vivek Ramaswamy to use to fix the social contract that Donald Trump broke, right? Because Hasan Minhaj has no excuse for his cultural attack on America, right? Him claiming suffering, woe, and trepidation coming from his skin color, which never occurred, right? And the reason why is he was a journalist comedian for a long time. He knows that people expect journalist comedians to tell the truth since Jon Stewart. That America picked up a contract and said we can no longer expect truth from our actual journalists, so we will get truth from our journalist comedians. And he was under Jon Stewart, and then he was under Trevor Noah, and he knows this. He knows the social contract, right? And this is the perfect opportunity to fix the broken social contract about human speech and truth that Donald Trump broke, that Vivek Ramaswamy can use by taking 1 year of Hasan Minhaj's life. He has the ability to do it. He can put him in the dark for a year, and he can fix multiple problems at once. He can fix the problem of actually saying, hey, he could fix this problem of we expect truth from comedians. And make it clear to everybody, we expect truth from comedians, and we definitely expect truth from cultural comedians, and we expect truth from all comedians at all parts, right? This is the social contract, and if you break it, the cost is 1 year in the dark. You are not on big screen or small screen for 1 year. Vivek Ramaswamy has the power to do this. He should do this, and he can fix multiple, and he can also fix the problem of when somebody's canceled, how long does it last? He could set the template. It lasts 1 year, 1 calendar year, right? Now, if you do your thing in February, it's going to be almost 2 years, right? But it's important, and I really think we need to get this handled. Every single word of that is my humble opinion. What's important is when I hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking, subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.